These countries are not underdeveloped. They're overexploited. They're overexploited. They're overexploited.
In Guyana and right across the Eastern Caribbean, the time has moved on to 19 hours 20, and we welcome you down to Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. It is time for the Lall Show, and it is the Friday edition. As you know, that we come your way right here on your favorite radio station, and of course via our social media pages every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 19 hours 20 to bring to you the Lall Show. You would have listened to Mr. Lall on Monday. As you know, he's on a break. Of course, he would have explained to you that last Monday, and we do apologize he's unable to join us this evening for a Friday program. But as always, he instructs us to play rebroadcasts or programs that you yourself might not would have understand fully. Well, it is a time for you to now sit back, relax, and enjoy, or rather listen to our rebroadcast of the program. And just in case you might have listened to this before, that does not say that you might have captured everything. This is the time for you now to sit and take in as much as you can. We encourage you to call your friends and family and let them know that they can listen to this rebroadcast. A point of note before I hand things over to the technical side to bring to you that rebroadcast. The point of note is that despite the fact that we are bringing to you this rebroadcast, if you have any questions, feel free to message us on our Facebook Live. We're live at this moment on Facebook, or you can feel free to shoot that message via WhatsApp or SMS 622-2222. We will respond to you if we can. If not, we do promise you that we will get an answer to you in the shortest possible time. With that said, and with that in mind, I now encourage you to listen to the rebroadcast of the Lall Show. And remember, we continue this fight for a better Guyana so that you and I can live a happy life. It is time for that rebroadcast.
Long while now. Namaste to all Guyana. I want to begin tonight's program with a quote which says, "Never be afraid to raise your voice for honesty, truth, and compassion against injustice, lying, and greed." If people all over the world would do this, it would change the earth. Should I repeat that, Josh?
Please do.
Never be afraid to raise your voice for honesty, truth, and compassion against injustice, lying, and greed. If people all over the world would do this, it would change not only the earth, but how we live as a people. Guyana, good evening to all of you. And thank you for listening to this market vendor every Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. The more information I get about this oil and gas business in Guyana, the more miserable I get every day. I trust you guys had a wonderful weekend and a productive Monday, because I had a very productive weekend, and today was a wonderful day for me. I just want to begin by telling you guys that Guyana's debt stands at $2.2 billion, while the leaders giving away in the billions with closed eyes. Friday, I talked about an explosive report done by a team of oil experts on Guyana's oil as to where we are and where we are heading. I really don't know how much you guys grasped of what I said, but I want to continue on that report because it is too important to all of us as Guyanese not to know everything what is in that report. Please listen to the headline of the report. I didn't give you guys that Friday. This is the headline. Lack of ring fencing provision means Guyana won't realize oil gains before 2030s, if at all. And the strapline says, loophole allows ExxonMobil-led development team to use profits to pay for more oil exploration in Guyana. Let me put that in a more simple term for you guys. The people say, if we don't stop, if we don't prevent ExxonMobil from taking out your oil money to put in other projects, you would not see anything tangible before 2030s.
Wow.
With an S at the end of 2030s. Yes. It means 2030s, not 2030, not up to 2030. It goes with the S. And the last three words that ends the headline of the report says, if at all. You hear that, Josh?
Yeah.
If at all, you would not see anything in the 2030s. If at all you got anything to get. That's what the headline says. That report shines the light the Guyanese people need in their faces to really see what is there for Guyana. We are all living in the dark as to what is really going on with our oil and this oil sector we have, in which Vice President Jack Dare is heading. The politicians are silent, while ExxonMobil and others packing bills in the billions on our table to pay. Guyanese doesn't have a clue. The government doesn't know what is happening. And if they do know, they are hiding it from every one of us. ExxonMobil and the government has been completely silent on the spending out there with the Guyanese people. Money keeps spending by ExxonMobil in the billions of American dollars, and this country is not being told a single thing as to the amount that is being spent. Guys, the money they spend from 2015 to 2019 is in the billions, and we still don't know the full amount to date. If it wasn't for this report, what these experts put out, Guyana would have never known that ExxonMobil is taking out until 2024 $7.6 billion from our oil before profit is shared. You hear that figure? 7.6 billion American dollars before profit is shared. That money was never checked or verified by us. You didn't hear me, Josh? That money was never verified or checked by Guyana. That is 3 years budget money we talking about that we did not authorize or check. But we leaders borrow $500 million in the 2021 budget. How you like that? This is not a Nancy story, guys, or a bedtime story me telling y'all. This is factual. You know, I want to laugh when I hear things, when I hear these things, but I just can't. I sometimes can't even smile when I hear things like this. It's like you borrowing $50,000 to help you run your house, buy food and pay the little bills you got every month. and you losing 3 times or 10 times more than what you borrow from you mango tree at the back of your yard. How you like that? That is business, eh? Or let me put it another way so you can follow what I'm saying. You renting your house and the tenant keeps giving you bills that is 10 times the rent you collecting. You hear that, Josh? You renting your house and the tenant giving you bills 10 times more than the rent the man got to pay you. Wow. Well, Guyana, that is what ExxonMobil doing to Guyana, backed by our politicians to all of us. So the tenant gonna live in your house, and when he leaves, you will still owe him on the bills he sent to you. That is where, listen to this, Josh, that is where many African countries ended up. And that is exactly what this report, the export sent, means. Guyana already heading down that road. Let me explain so you can understand. Very simple. ExxonMobil, Guyana, and all of us on a fast-moving train with no brakes. You hear me, man? Yeah. ExxonMobil got Guyana and all of us on a fast-moving train with no brakes. And when it crashed, every single Guyanese will be flying like dust in the air. Yeah. Mark my words. The report actually said that, but not in plain words. You see that 7.6 billion set to come out from Liza One oil, and we ain't know how much left back. And all the leaders quiet, Josh? Yeah. Man, I don't know where and what going on in this land. We may have to wait on another report to come out to know the full cost of the expenses from 2015 to 2019 only. This is how President Ali, Opposition Leader Harman, and Vice President Jagdeo saying they're open and transparent with information in the oil sector. Guys, isn't it time that this country goes to a standstill? Isn't it time that we stop and fix, get this thing correct? Or y'all want this type of arrangement to continue, where billions coming in as expenses and no one approving or checking on these people's spendings? Come on, man. Who runs business like this? Huh? Let me move on with the report so you can understand what's inside. That unknown figure that left back there is being rolled over as the months go by. You think you understand me, Josh? The unknown billions is being rolled over as the months go by to be paid by Guyana. Man, what is happening in this land? About it? Huh? What that means for me and you. These people were spending and just packing your cupboard with bills every second of the day before 2019. You hear me? As for 2019, 2020, 2021, man, I don't want to know that figure. But where is it? Anybody knows? You know where is that figure? Can somebody tell me how to find it? Mr. Ali, can you tell us how to find those figures? Where is those figures? Can somebody tell us Can the vice president tell us how much hundreds of billions they have there waiting for us? Guys, our country debt is $2.2 billion only. And ExxonMobil dumped $7.6 billion plus on we before 2019. Now we have an unknown figure for 2019, 20, and 21. Are you understand what I'm saying, man? I am making this thing very simple, you know. It's bills I'm talking about that nobody knows. If it wasn't for that report from the international experts, Guyana would have never known that we have 7.6 billion plus from 2019 backwards. Guys, if I lie, the 19, 20, and 21 bills are already gone past $100 billion. We're not checking, authorizing, or verifying any of that. But we still got 2.2 billion debt that we owe the World Bank in a plastic bag. You guys taking notes, man? I hope you guys understand where this country is heading with these leaders, these financial gurus we have. But here, what are you hearing from President Ali? He got the Vice President Jagdeo hiring foreigners, paying them fat US dollar salaries to further indebt Guyana with another $4 billion. To we 2.2 billion debt on this gas to shore and the hydro falls. Guyana is losing $1 billion a day from our oil, in my estimation. Or maybe I push it too far. A week. Yes, give or take a week. Because we don't know the figure. We're just waking up, seeing reports, and we're seeing figures what we never know about. Isn't this good riddance, man? You know, sometimes I want to know if these leaders have no shame or they are that stupid. President Ali said last Monday, them now putting together a team to monitor and to check the bills ExxonMobil give we. When they're done, throw 100 billion on Guyana. What cannot be checked because the time done pass. Wow. This is Guyana, guys. 1 billion gas to show their donkey is more important to them than checking the bills the people throwing at we every day. Are you understand what's going on? Let me be very blunt, very frank and clear. If Guyana check those bills starting tomorrow morning, we will find money that can pay out not Guyana 2.2 debt, but the entire Caribbean debts. There is no qualms about that. I am putting my life to that. Knowing who these economic gangsters are. Yes. They're worse than the soldier man who rip off the gold people them money and go bury it in the backyard. These economic gangsters we have for oil people is 1 trillion times worse than that soldier. What has there been and robbed the gold dealer? You guys remember the story, man. It was published. Yeah. But our leaders wouldn't go after these gangsters. You gotta ask yourself why. It is because you're dealing with a set of gangsters. They're gangstering Guyana. Just like how the leaders of some of the African countries gangster their people. Yes, man. They're gangstering every one of you here. Just Google Africa and see what happened. Check Angola, Sudan, Papua New Guinea, Chad, and Nigeria. As for that one is worse. Guyana, fellow citizens, the only thing we ever heard of was that Liza 1 costs was $3.5 billion in 2019. So let me ask you guys, if 3.5 billion was the figure they gave Guyana as the cost for Liza 1, then, in God's name, how are we now paying 7.6 billion and more prior 2019? Can somebody explain where this 7.6 billion and more come from? Man, this madness is beyond madness. Me give you a cost in 2019, James, for 3.5 million. And in 2021, the experts who review our oil contract is telling we 7.6 billion and more? And we don't know the more? Wait, man. We got a ring in we nose? Huh? Taking leader all over? Like animals or goat bite we? Are we that stupid, James?
Seems so, bro.
Huh?
Seems so.
Brothers and sisters, Liza 2 oil field, them say $6 billion. Are we to get another report in which it will say 12 billion and more? You tell me. I don't know. They told us in 2019 too that the Liza 2 field is bigger, will be more. They put it to $6 billion. We ain't see the bill and we don't know yet. So my question, are we to wait for another report in which it will tell us 12 billion and more? Payara oil field, the number 3 one. That one, they announced this year, $9 billion. Are we to get another export report to tell we this one is 27 billion or more? Brothers and sisters, y'all better wake up from that slumber y'all in. Danger awaits. Slavery awaits. 90% of all Guyanese people will be in extreme poverty. Can anybody prove me wrong? I challenge the world on this. If this arrangement isn't put to a full stop immediately, we will be there just like those African countries. I was told only yesterday, Joshua, that a report is in the making to be released very soon on Nigeria. A country full of oil. The woman said to me, Lall, in a few years' time, Nigeria will be the home of 3/4 of the world's most extreme impoverished peoples.
Wow.
You hear that, James?
Yep.
A report is to come out very soon in which the woman said, Lall, in a few years' time, Nigeria will be the whole 3/4 of the world's most impoverished people.
That's very sad.
You hear that?
Yeah.
I will share that report as soon as it lands in my hands or in my email box. Guyana, if you don't correct this in these leaders, our resources, God be with those 90% of Guyanese. to ask me, why 90% Guyanese? Well, that answer is very simple. The 10% of Guyanese will be rich, filthy rich. Look around and see who and who as locals in the oil arena already. Those are the be filthy. Let me repeat the headline of the report again to people. The report said lack of ring fencing provision means Guyana wouldn't realize oil gains before 2030s with the S, if at all. The fly line says loophole allows Mobile-led development team to use profits. Use profits to pay for more oil exploration in Guyana. Wow. I will talk a little more on this Wednesday. Guys, Lisa 1, 2, and 3, which is Payara, was about 20 billion, them tell we. Do not be surprised when another report come out, it meets 100 billion American dollars. Don't be surprised. In a nutshell, these people spending in the billions every day on projects, one after the other. These people spending in the billions for continuing to dig dry holes, and all those bills are being racked up and placed in Guyana's pile. Yes, in we file to be taken out as the oil comes up. As them oil comes up. You notice I didn't say your oil? They own. And those figures, not a single soul knows except ExxonMobil. Where are the leaders of this land? Do we have any? If we have, I am certainly not hearing from them. Are you hearing from them? James, are you hearing from them?
Nothing to add.
Guys, this report is not damning. If you guys study this report keenly, it's on Kaieteur News website. So just go there and you will see it. If you guys study it keenly, you will see these people are telling us that Guyana is on the Nigerian roadway, traveling in a car without brakes, heading for what lies ahead. It is that horrible. It's a bottomless cesspit that we are heading to or into. Everybody is taking us for a ride.
Yes.
And you don't know the destination. It's danger. The Kaieteur News has a story today in which an international organization called Natural Resource Governance Institute, NRGI, them release a report, another one, just like how Tom Zanzilo released his report. And they are begging Guyana and other oil countries not to take their eyes off spendings. Yes. They're begging we not to take we eyes off spendings. Yes. Expenses. The same expenses I just talked about. This new report what the people put out, titled, hear them headline, Beneath the Surface. You hear that? Beneath the surface. Meaning, don't only look at what you're seeing in the day on top of the surface. You got to go beneath the surface. Look beneath the surface and in the night to what they're doing in the sector. That is what the headline means. The people say, large projects like what is going on out there is usually done by just a few names, a few companies, and they name them. They say Shell, ExxonMobil, Rio Tinto, Gazprom, and Codelco. Them that is the same companies that does get all the oil contracts license from every country. But them, hear what the people say, but them who get the contract, who get the permit, who get the license, them have them own companies who them just hire to do most of the work. You hear that?
Yep.
Yes, them got them own companies who them just hire to do the work. Them is the companies that does supply everything for the oil operations. Remember the boats, the $55,000 US a day boats? Yes. Find out who company doing the business. I'm certain it's not Jack Deo or harm on them. You hear what the people say? Them got them own company that does do the supplying, that them does have to pay. Yes. The report say these are multi-billion-dollar international conglomerates. You hear me, James?
Yeah.
It's not any and all body, you know.
No.
They are multi-billion-dollar companies.
Specific set of people.
Yes. And they name some of them. They say people like Halliburton, Schlumberger, and Caterpillar. And they only have a handful of employees. You understand?
Yeah.
Them that only got a handful of employees. So things can't leak out or jump out from what goes on within those companies. But the report says corruption, bribery, and favoritism are the most common thing among them. I love this report. I love this report. The people say that they find corruption scandals and foreign bribery cases in at least 29 countries across 5 continents. You want me to repeat that, man? The report said them find corruption scandals and foreign bribery cases in at least 29 countries across 5 continents. Is how many continents we have in this world, man? I thought it was 3. But today I found out. I had to find out it's 7. So you imagine this organization find corruption in 5 out of the 7 continents we have in this world. The report says them just find a good friend to offer financial rewards to gain advantage. Hear that? Them just also use outside companies to pay suppliers and other methods to bribe people. The people list some key examples of corruption cases with suppliers. Man, you guys have to hear this one. Some of them same supplier are right here. You hear me, man? Schlumberger, they're right here. Halliburton, they're right here. and don't get contracts in them hands for working in Guyana. Man, you hear me, man?
Yeah,
Am I
loud
clear?
and clear.
Very clear, guys?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, man. And then name them too. Saipem, Halliburton, and SBM Offshore. Yes, that is the three companies they mentioned. You don't know who is Saipem, right? You know? You remember? All right. Them is the people who laying the pipelines, who putting down them pipelines in the underground water out there in the Stabroek Block. You hear me? That is the company that putting down all the subsea underground, doing all the jiggery, puggery lines and stuff like that at the bottom of the ocean for suck up the oil. Here, what happened to the same company? The report said the same company, Saipem, was hauled before the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, where them settle a matter and pay $24.5 million. They appeared before the SEC on an allegation that Saipem employees pay $198 million to a middleman to get a $10 billion contract from the Nigerian National Oil Company. You hear me, man?
Yep.
That's what they pay, $198 million to the Nigerian Oil Company for get a $10 billion US contract. My God. Them had to settle with the people there. Let me ask you, man, who does pay them kind of money if you're not guilty of doing something? Well, that's the kind of people we have here in we backyard, in our oil sector. It's them you got to pay in the billions for the pipelines. Connect them and screw them up. I don't know what else and who else did a screw. You remember the 7.6 billion prior to 2019?
Yeah.
Is that same company bill you got to pay. And the others. Just read through the lines what is going on. Google and you will see what shaft y'all getting. You know who paid the fine for that company? One of them own partner who owes a large interest in the company.
Wow.
Yes. The report said the bribe was sent to an Algerian official. You hear me? Yeah, man. The bribe was sent to an Algerian official. Saipem, nor the parent company, never ever denied. The report says so, you know. They never denied or accepted the allegations. But the partner paid a $24 million fine. The report found out that last year, an Italian appeal court overturned a previous conviction laid before Saipem for the same matter. Don't think y'all dealing with imams, priests and pandits, buddy. You're dealing with a set of international gangsters in this country.
Yep.
As for the SBM, yes, SBM, the other company, them is the shipbuilders. Them building all them FPSO out there, what they've gone and pick up all over the world were abandoned, patch them up, well them up, and bring them here. Them floating ships. Yes, for store the oil out there. Them is ExxonMobil prime shipbuilder. Them got a history of bribery. The report said so, not Glenn Lall saying so. Man, this one is more bad than Saipan, what I just talk about. The people were screwing all them pipes together to bring up oil. That company more bad than Saipan. As for the shipbuilders, them is known for bribing government officials all over to gain contracts. You did hear what I said, man?
Yes, loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Them is known for bribing government officials for get contracts. Hear what the report say. Between 1996 and 2012, you hear me? That's 16 years. The U.S. courts said that SBM made commission payments to deliberately bribe officials in Brazil, Angola, Equatorial Guinea, Kazakhstan, Iraq, and other countries with over 180 million for the officials to smile with them. You hear that?
Yep.
You know what I mean, man?
Yep, we know
For the
exactly
officials
where
to
that-
smile with them.
Exactly.
You collecting money, yes, for smile with them. You hear what the court document said? Them deliberately and systematically bribe the officials. Yes. And for them smile. You just bribe a man to smile. Not true, man?
Yep.
Yeah, man. When you bribe a man, the man to smile. The people said those bribes, those monies the officials collected resulted in about 2.8 billion American dollar profits.
Wow.
The people walk away with. You hear me? So if you, what do people say in there? If you bribe a few officials here, them can walk away with $7.6 billion in profit.
Yep.
That is what the people warning Guyana about. And what you're hearing from your leaders then?
Nothing.
Nothing. So you better read what's going through. What is going on here, people? A little bribe here and there the officials collected resulted in 2.8 billion American dollar profit for the people them. That is where they walk away. Y'all know anybody we can bribe in Guyana to make a couple of them ships? James, you know anybody? It's not a big deal. It's just put together a pontoon and a big hull to hold the aisle and a flat platform to put a pump to pump up the aisle. Nothing hard we can do. If you know anybody, we can probably get going with it to get them kind of money in the billions.
Yep.
Man, I left in this newspaper and this radio to go and take a course.
Yeah,
I gotta take a course
everybody will have in life.
in how to build ship.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Here, what the report went on to say, guys, despite Brazil and the U.S. court cases, the report said they were hauled before the courts in their own country, the Netherlands, and were forced to pay millions of dollars in fines. We done with SBM, the shipbuilder, plus IPM. That's what we done with. Yeah, the pipe layers.
Yeah.
Now the people talk about the king, another king, the Halliburton. Them said this company in 2017, that's just 4 years ago, was forced to pay $29 million to that same Security Council Commission to settle a bribery case. Hear what this report says, man. By them paying the fine, the company get off without admitting or denying wrongdoing. Meaning, you ain't got no conviction behind your name. You're not a trickster. You're not a scamp. You're not a thief. You didn't do nothing wrong. You were never convicted. The report said that Halliburton paid millions to an Angola state-run company to get a proper money deal. Yes, a good contract. And them end the report by saying it was the second time in 8 years that Halliburton got into trouble and was fined for corrupt practices.
Wow.
Buddy, I tell you, it's a set of gangsters,
Yes.
international gangsters we're dealing with in this land.
Yeah.
Man, do I have to say anything more here
This is more meeting youngsters.
as to what to look for? Huh?
Clash of youngsters.
Man. Oh my God. Wow.
This is meeting youngsters.
Is where this country heading, bro?
That's a good question.
Guyana, where are we heading with our oil? I don't think you guys understand what is going on in this country. I think many of us, all of us, or most of you, are just in the wilderness. Everything I said there is as simple as this, brothers and sisters. Y'all have a set of gangsters and political hustlers gangstering Guyana and every one of us. Man, if me and a couple vendors run that oil sector out there, we make this country better than any country overnight. Yeah, man. Better than Dubai. The first thing I will do is stop ExxonMobil in their tracks
Yeah.
from going ahead with that fourth project, what they call Yellowtail. By the time that one done with y'all tail will be blue and black. I did tell y'all a while back that this one is the grandfather of the three evil that is to come. That has gone. Lisa 1, 2, and Payara. What I said, Jack, they were going to prove overnight again. The people them boast about that. Talking to their shareholders, we carry that story. Boasting Exxon head. Boasting, telling the shareholders at the annual meeting just recently that they're boasting that Jack Deere is going to sign that immediately.
They don't say they get it going.
Yeah, man.
There's
Yep.
confidence they have.
He going to prove that right away. Guys, that got to go on the back burner. We have to put that on the back burner and start from scratch until we fix Lisa 1, Lisa 2, and Payara expenses. If we don't do that, buddy, and you allow Yellowtail Project 4 to go ahead, trust me, you're going to wake up having in excess of 100 billion American dollars that will not lengthen your profit, will shorten it.
Precisely.
That you will not even able to buy bread when the day come. I am so sorry for all Guyanese. What is people doing to your children and your grandchildren? James, Many nights I just want to cry for y'all. Let me repeat this thing again. We had a chance. We had the ball in our court to hold up Payara, to stop them in the tracks, to fix Lisa 1 and Lisa 2.
Correct is right.
But that man, Jagdeo, Vice President Jagdeo, approved it in 1 day.
Oh,
Guys,
if he fix, he was to fix it.
guys, I don't like to repeat, but he brought a woman, a Canadian woman, whenever must even check or never check newspaper properly, for check 9 billion American dollar bills that we get in Payara in 6 weeks. Something would have taken 2 years for export team to check. She checked them in 6 weeks, and the Vice President Jagdeo just approved the thing the next day. In 1 day. I call it a sellout. I call it a sellout because we didn't even get insurance to protect Guyanese and other nations. You remember, something as important as that, Ashni Singh, the financial guru, says a vital toolkit that every citizen, every business, every home should and must have. I wonder where he tongue there on this one. You're laughing. This is not laugh story, brother. He said those words at the commissioning of the Suriname Insurance Company. You guys remember, I talk about the Assyria head office when it opened in Guyana. Guys, I am running out of time. I looked at a piece of our vice president interview he had on Newsroom with a journalist named Neil Marks today. He talked about the gas to shore and the hydro project, which I want you guys to listen. I wonder if the journalist that interviewed him really understand what the vice president talked about on the subject matter, because I want to play it so that you guys can tell me what you understand. Josh, could you play that video?
Yeah.
It's a few minutes, just 3 minutes, and post the piece online. Let the viewers online get it. Play it. I myself try to comprehend. I try to comprehend the logics, the explanation, the reasoning this man gave. And I find it very difficult to understand it. Go ahead and play it for me, please.
There was no program but a huge commitment to the Paris Club to do 100% renewable by 2025. So on that front, we've had to look at the array of projects there. Everything now is practically fossil fuel, but heavy bunker C, which is very polluting, and lined up about energy security in the future, which is one of our goals, energy security, but cheaper energy both for the domestic consumers and the business community. And we've laid out a plan and started working on the projects. So
you're sticking with that 2025 deadline?
no, we cannot get to 100% renewable by 2025.
Unrealistic.
It was unrealistic, totally unrealistic. They had no project to do such a thing. So our demand now is 250 megawatts from the gas to energy project, 160 from Amila, we have retendered the Amila, and about 30 to 50 from solar. And we're currently exploring wind power too. So we'd have an energy mix. Now, globally, although gas is still a polluting energy, they see it as a transitional energy from the very polluting bunker diesel to full renewable energy, because the global demand for power, for energy will far outstrip the investments being made in renewable. And so you still have excess demand that can be satisfied from renewable energy. And therefore you have to have a transitional fuel. And gas is seen as a transitional fuel. Now, I've seen a lot of comments about the viability of these projects. And the program is very short. I shall not spend time going through that. But each of these projects are very, very viable. And what pains me a lot, Neil, is that people can just come and write an article and question the viability. They have not done any study. At Myla Falls, you've had over 4,000 pages of studies that were on environment, on the hydrology, on geotechnical risk, on design, on all of these issues. People can just ignore all of this technical work and then come and make a judgment call. And then it gains traction because it's a very important, it's a very sexy thing now to talk about renewable energy. I recall the same people who were talking about, oh, why not go for renewable? Why are we going for the gas to energy project? And I said at that time, when we come back to the renewable energy project, you're going to complain about it. And now they're complaining about the hydropower too. So the same people were complaining about the gas to energy project. So at some point in time, maybe again with editors, we can go through the viability of each of these projects and how studied they have been, and to show that we can, that they are justified. I saw a group of NGOs call on us to go to consultations on these projects. We've consulted ad nauseum on these projects. But a political party has to fulfill its promises. These same NGOs that talk about good governance and that people must listen to, must be accountable, political parties must be accountable, want us to move away from good governance and accountability. We are accountable to the electorate. And when we put a manifesto out that says we're going to build a Myla Fall, because we have studied it, we're going to go for a gas to energy project. We campaign on this. People give us the mandate to do this. We say we will do this to give you cheaper electricity. They then want us to go in an unaccountable way and deal with a few NGOs, some of which, like the GHRA, which this has no constituency, and then stop a project that we got the mandate from the people to do because they have concerns. So I do hope that the same people who are calling for accountable government realize that these projects went to the electorate, and the electorate gave us the mandate. And if they're not happy with it, please, at the end of 5 years, in a country that is free, they can change their government.
Guys, you heard him? You guys heard him? He said the projects went to the electorate. I don't know which one of you know. Which one of you heard or understand or know what is going on with that? He said he's not sticking to the 2025 renewable energy for Guyana. He said it is totally unrealistic. Can't happen by 2025. Brothers and sisters, that is not so. Let me tell you, I could tell him plainly that he's wrong. He's out of his mind to say that Guyana cannot get there by 2025. That can happen next year, not 2025. By 2025, this whole country can go green. It's already happening all over the world. The energy mix he's talking about, 250 megawatt from the gas to shore, 160 megawatt from the hydro project, 30 to 50 megawatt from solar. Man, we got electricity to power the whole world by the time he don't talk. With this energy mix he planned to bring to Guyana. He admit that gas is polluting the atmosphere. He said it is the way to get to renewables like solar and wind. He did admit that. It's the same song he's singing like ExxonMobil. They told me that gas will replace diesel and heavy oil, in which I told him the Exxon country manager, don't go down that road with me. Renewables is the way to go now. It is better, it is cleaner, and it is cheaper. Far cheaper. And it is the way the world is heading. The Exxon man shook his head and did not answer me until now. Jagdeo said, each one of the project is viable with not a single proof whatsoever to back what he's saying. He said people only write articles and question the project, and that pains him. Wow. He said the Amelia Falls has over 4,000 pages of studies. Studies on what? Environment, geotechnical, hydrology, and the design and all the issues. He didn't say anything, a single word about the study to show Guyana and all of us if this thing is viable or not. If this thing good for Guyana or bad for Guyana. In terms of dollars, profitability, I'm talking about Guyana. Jagdeo said, it is a very sexy thing for people to talk about renewable energy now. So let me ask this. Why we should not be talking about that when that is the most sexiest things going on in the world today? Mr. Jagdeo, why? He went on to say a group of NGO calling on him to hold consultation on these projects. He said, oh, they have done that before, extensively. They have done so much time, which is not true. I could tell you that. But, hear what the man said, man. But a political party has to fulfill its promise to its people. These same, and he went on to say, these same NGO that talk about good governance and calling on political parties to be accountable wants us to move away from good governance and accountability to the people who voted for them. You hear that? Yeah. Hear this madness this man said. The PPP had the hydro project and the gas ashore project in their manifesto, which them studied and campaigned on. So now they're fulfilling their promise to the voters to give them cheaper electricity from those projects. Yes, which the world is kicking against. Guys, this is not laughable. This is unthinkable and unimaginable. This type of arrangement, brothers and sisters, what Jagdeo is pulling on this country, is like a man ringing a bell in the streets, selling chocolate cheap to little children. But when they get home and open the wrapper, they find mud cake instead. Yeah, man. That is what Jagdeo is selling in Guyana. The gas to shore and hydro seed projects is 1 million times worse than that chocolate story. If y'all don't see what they in the wrapper. Yes, meaning the study. He said he can sit down with editors and go through this study, this viability study. I would love to sit down with you, Mr. Vice President, to see how this project you're pushing on Guyana will ever become a success for the people of this country. Josh,
Yes.
could you open the phone lines, please?
Yes.
Hmm?
226-7453, 226-7454.
Because all the money they're spending there, the gentleman is saying they still have to fix all the lines. You understand? And that will cost another $1 trillion. The man says 250 million, they could come in and throw down anything here and finish with it. And the man said, you hear the man said, you don't even have to put any money down. So they're bringing their money. Of course, you have to give them a contract, an agreement, right? At a cost. No, they don't want that. You know why they don't want that? No, let me tell you why they don't want that. And I'll repeat this again. The gas to shore project and that Hydro Falls project is two projects they want to throw on we, just like how they throw the Marriott Hotel and the Berbice Bridge on every Guyanese, in which those two projects is making money to pay only the private investors. They sneak into the projects. That's what they want to do. What they're doing, they're setting the stage there for several generations of the people they put in there to benefit from each and every one of us. So it's not only them will be benefiting. You understand? Their children, children's, and everybody will be benefiting from these things. You understand? It's all because they don't start talking about consortium. It's the same consortium that they did for the Marriott Hotel. They're putting together people, secret people. Me and you can't get in there. I talked about it before. Me and you cannot get in there. You hear one guy say you have 5,000 for putting? You can't even get in 1,000 Guyana dollars in there because they don't want you in there. These projects are being designed to rip Guyana off. And every citizen of this country. Christ. Man, I need to take a break.
Well,
I need to.
And that has brought us to the end of this night's rebroadcast of the Glenn Lall Show. Just in case you might have missed it, feel free to join us tomorrow right here on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM at 11 hours for the said rebroadcast. Have a great remainder of your Friday evening and encouraging you to be safe.